Statistics are hard to come by, but experts believe that of the towboaters who fall in the water, only about half of them come out alive. The fact is, if you fall in the river, you may have only minutes to live. What you do in those first few seconds and how you behave from then on will determine if you come out of the water alive or as just another statistic. The purpose of this program is to teach you how to stay alive if you fall in the river. First, we'll explore some basic facts about drowning. Then we'll discuss some of the problems of surviving in the river until rescue. Special emphasis is given to correct use of the personal flotation device, reducing hypothermia, conserving energy, and self-rescue. Falling in is such a surprise that in those first few minutes, victims often do things that work against their survival. The shock of hitting the water can cause an involuntary reaction of the body's systems called the torso reflex. The arms fly up and the mouth opens wide. A big gulp of air is inhaled, and then water is sucked into the lungs as the head goes under. A drowning person cannot yell for help because they're too busy choking. Typically, it takes an adult about 60 seconds to drown. Your chances for survival can be greatly increased if you understand the problems facing you when you fall in the water. Problems can start even before falling in, if you're foolish enough to go on deck without your PFD. And the ability of a PFD to support you in water will be reduced if it doesn't fit or you wear it wrong. Hypothermia is a silent killer in the water. Everyone knows about wind chill and how it affects body heat, but water can reduce body temperature 25 times faster than air of the same temperature. Some victims believe heavy clothing or boots will make them sink, and therefore try to take them off in the water. The opposite is true. When you first fall in, clothing, and especially boots, trap air and help you float higher in the water. Over time, as clothes become saturated, they achieve neutral buoyancy. They no longer help you float, but they don't pull you down either. Actually, even wet clothing helps ward off hypothermia by holding a layer of warmer water next to the body. The problem of energy loss affects even the fittest victims. Water is not our natural environment. Any movement uses up more energy than the same effort made out of the water. If you panic, keep splashing around, or even try swimming, you will tire yourself very quickly. And there is no resting to regain strength as you would on land. Hypothermia never stops sucking the heat out of your body, and the faster you move, the faster you become cold. People drown face down in their PFDs because they are literally too tired to hold their head up. All the problems above are made more difficult by the fact that rescues from towboats can take a lot of time, even under the best of circumstances. Once the crew knows someone is overboard, a rescue effort has to be organized and a boat put into the water. By then, the victim may be out of sight, and a search will have to be made. It's a big river. Finding a small bobbing head can be very difficult. The goal of towboaters is to overcome these problems by learning how to survive in the water until rescue comes. This video is directed to providing the knowledge and techniques necessary to use a PFD correctly, reduce and slow down the effects of hypothermia, conserve energy, and reduce the chance of exhaustion. The PFD, your personal flotation device. That uncomfortable, hot in the summer, always awkward orange nuisance that they have to make you wear. Hate it, right? But if you go in the water, you're going to love your PFD. Your PFD is your first line of defense against drowning. If you're wearing your PFD, if you're wearing it right, and if you know how to survive in the water, you can beat the river. The 3-pad PFDs commonly used on towboats are a Coast Guard-approved Type 5 work vest. It will provide about 15 pounds of flotation. The 3 flotation pads are held together by a harness, which buckles at the front. The shoulder straps and the strap across the back can be adjusted so that the vest fits people of different sizes. Every towboater and everybody who works around water should have their own personal PFD with their name on it. When you first put your PFD on, check how it fits, and then adjust it to your body size. It doesn't have to be tight, but it should fit snugly against your chest and back without any slack in the side straps. Once you get the PFD adjusted for you, write your name on it. Keep it with you, and always wear it when you need to. When you're near the water and need a PFD, you need to keep it buckled. PFDs are of little use if they are not secured to your body. It's critical that your PFD not be worn loose. Just the force of hitting the water can strip a loose PFD off. Even if it doesn't come off, it can be driven up into your throat, causing you to choke and to gulp in water. A loose PFD cannot keep you up in the water. Without the straps snugging it to your body, it rides up under your arms, and you sink lower into the water. Now you have to use more of your energy pulling the PFD to your chest to keep your face up and out of the water. Some people think they can wear their PFD loose now and then tighten the straps if they fall into the water. Wrong. The strap to tighten the PFD to your chest is in the back. Never take a PFD off in the water to try to adjust the straps. You still can't adjust the straps, and meanwhile, you could drown yourself. In an effort to keep cool, you may be tempted to push your PFD down around your hips. It won't be cool if you go in the water like this and end up head down, struggling with a PFD that is working against you. Once you have a correctly fitted PFD, what else can you do to improve your chances of survival if you should fall into the water? First, before you fall in, use the buddy system. When you're working near the water, don't work alone. If you are alone, there's no one to give the man overboard alarm and start a rescue effort. If a buddy is nearby, he can alert the captain and crew and then track your location in the water so rescuers know where to look. Next, there is a best way to fall into the water. Because falling in is so unexpected, you may not be able to execute all of the following techniques. But the more of these steps you can manage, the better your chances are. As you fall, try to turn away from the water and pull into a tucked position. Before you hit the water, cover your mouth and nose with one hand to keep out water and to help prevent the torso reflex. Grab your PFD with the other hand to hold it down when you hit the water. It's best to fall on your butt or back so that you don't get the wind knocked out of you. Falling with your back down and your feet above your head will also help trap air in your shoes. Once you come to the surface, you have to get past the shock of falling in, and now take control of your situation. Yell and wave until you are sure that your buddy or someone in the crew knows that you are now in the water. Check that your PFD is still buckled, and then try to relax and slow down. Panic is your worst enemy. Thrashing around will just cost you energy and speed up hypothermia. Next, focus on your floating technique. You should be face up and on your back. If your PFD is loose, cross your arms and pull the pads against your chest to keep your face out of the water. You can improve your floating position by arching your back and increasing the air in your lungs. Next, slowly turn so that you're facing downstream and can see where you're going. Remember, you have a limited amount of energy and body heat to keep you going until the rescue boat arrives or you're able to get to shore on your own. Your two biggest goals are to conserve energy and avoid hypothermia. Staying relaxed and minimizing your movements will reduce energy loss. Even good swimmers should not try to swim to shore unless they are very close and very sure they can make it. Hypothermia is a danger even in the warmest months of the year. By using the HELP techniques, you can reduce heat loss by as much as 60%. HELP stands for Heat Escape Lessening Position. To reduce heat loss as you float on your back, keep your body in a tuck position with your knees closer to your chest. Keep the back of your head out of the water. If you have a cap, try to keep it on to prevent heat loss. Next, cross your hands over your throat to keep the blood moving just under the skin in this area from cooling your whole body. Continue to move around as little as possible. Your clothes can hold a thin layer of warmer water next to your body. But if you move around, that warmer water mixes with cold water, and you will speed up the loss of body heat. The tough part is not knowing how long you will have to be in the water. And not knowing means you have to assume that it could be hours. You have to maintain, to not panic, conserve heat and energy, and just survive. Eventually, when a boat gets near, you will still have the energy to assist in your rescue by waving and shouting to get the crew's attention. Once they have spotted you, the boat will turn and approach you slowly from downstream. You may be too heavy for the crew and too tired to help them lift you into the boat. If the victim cannot be brought into the rescue boat, he should be secured to the side and slowly taken to the nearest shore. If rescue by boat is delayed, and if you're lucky, you may be able to get to the bank on your own. While swimming is usually a bad idea, you can gradually move toward shore by simply keeping your feet together and pointing them at the riverbank at an angle. The current will slowly move you in. Once you reach shore, if there's no gently sloping bank, you have a new set of problems. Cold, exhausted, and heavy with wet clothing, how can you lift yourself out of the water? Getting out of the water is made much easier if you use the bounce technique. Place your arms on the shore and begin to bounce. As you bounce, increase your height until you can lay your upper body over onto the shore. Slowly wriggle forward until your legs are also on the bank. Then relax and catch your breath, while water and all that weight drains out of your clothing and shoes. Now roll away from the water's edge. You made it. You controlled the situation, used your knowledge of how to survive in the water, and you beat the river. Remember, if you fall in the river, it is your decisions and your survival skills which will help determine if you get out of that river alive. Improve your chances by always wearing a PFD when on deck. Make sure it fits and it has your name on it. Use the buddy system so that the captain and crew can know if you go overboard. If you fall in the water, don't panic. Relax and gain control of your situation. Float and use the help steps to keep warm and fight off hypothermia. Practice your survival techniques in a safe environment, such as a pool. Try falling into the water and floating without a PFD to gain confidence in your floating ability. Next, jump in wearing a PFD and work on your floating and help techniques. Keep at it until you become thoroughly familiar with all the survival steps. If the first time you use your PFD is when you fall off the tow some dark night, you want all your moves to be instinctive. The river can be unforgiving, and you may only have minutes to live.